Today, we begin our study of the book of Exodus. Exodus is by far the greatest escape story ever. 2 to 3 million slaves escaped from the greatest, most fortified kingdom in the world. You know, when you think of escapes, you think of a few hundred people, sometimes from a jail. What is 2 to 3 million people in your mind? If they were to line up 5 in a row, like an army marching, they would stretch over 100 miles. Now that's something like halfway between Singapore and Kuala Lumpur. Or if you're Filipino, it's like Manila to Baguio, all right? Now, of course, people don't walk so disciplined 5 in a row. They had cattle, they had children, so they'll probably be less close together, and they'll probably stretch 200-mile long column. Now, of course, they were also walking through one of the most hostile terrains in the world. There was no source of food, no water. How do you feed 2 to 3 million people? Need about 1,000 tons of food a day. God airdropped 1,000 tons of manna every day for them. 2 to 3 million people will need like 2 million gallons of water just to survive. I'm not talking take a nice bath, wash our hands all the time. 2 million gallons of water. God provided for them. Just by way of looking at this, right? It's for 40 years, this journey. China's Mao Zedong's Long March was 1 year. This is 40 years. Mao Zedong's Long March was maybe 50,000 men. This one, 2 to 3 million. The Long March was through villages where there was some people could provide some food. This was through totally hostile territory. So I hope you're getting the picture now. How is this so? In the Egyptian army, when it was in 1973, there was the Arab-Israeli war, and the Egyptian army was stalled, halted in this same desert for 3 days. Couldn't get enough food provided the logistics. They surrendered because there was no food. A few thousand men, 3 days, not 40 years. The Bible also says their shoes never wore out. Wow. If you have a car today and you drove in the same desert, you better have lots of spare tires, because this desert is full of sharp rocks, cuts even the best quality tires. Now you must remember the Jews, this is 3,500 years ago, 3,500 years ago. What kind of shoes did they wear, or sandals? Very rich people, leather. Leather doesn't last that long, but these are not rich people, these are slaves. Their sandals were made of straw, probably. Straw for 40 years in this desert. Now that's another amazing miracle. Now, who wrote this book? Okay, this book is written by Moses. It's a very simple book to read because it is just basically 2 parts. The first half, more or less, is a narration or report of events, of what God did to deliver these people. The second half of the book is not so much a report of events, but a record of laws that God gives. So the first part is about God's grace to men. The second part is about man's responsibility to God's grace, man's gratitude. Okay? So this is a very simple book, just two halves. Now, Moses was the perfect man to write this. He was educated as Pharaoh's adopted grandson. Okay? Pharaoh's daughters adopted him. Now, finest education. All the other slaves couldn't read or write. They were slaves. Okay? He was the only one. Not only could read and write, but because he was trained properly, he had an organized mind to accurately report what he saw. He was like an eyewitness account of all these books, from Exodus to Deuteronomy, the last 4 books of the Torah, or the Pentateuch. The first book, he wasn't born yet, so obviously he didn't do an eyewitness reporting. The first book, God had to tell him how creation was made, how the world was created, because he wasn't there, nobody was there. The rest he had to collect oral history. But in this, from Exodus to Deuteronomy, he's an eyewitness account reporting. Now Moses is an awesome person. To the Jews, he's the second most revered after Abraham. To us, wow, he's a man who's literally saw God face to face. Talked to God, God talked to him more than possibly anyone else. He's a man who did more miracles than any other human. And his miracles were like, whoa, awesome miracles. So this is a little introduction to the book of Exodus.